Hey everyone, Evan Celiason here, founder of Higher Mind Incense and the Northwest School of Aromatic Medicine. And I wanted to put this video together for you today about incense and aromatic plants and their effects on anxiety, stress, and nervous tension. I've personally had a really difficult time over my life dealing with some deep-seated anxiety and nervousness issues that I really did a lot of work in different areas to overcome. I was always really shy growing up, and as I grew older and went through high school, that shyness turned to some pretty intense social anxiety, which was even debilitating at times for me. So in my 20s, when I started my healing path with plants and medicine, I discovered that one of my missions in life was to overcome that anxiety by any means that I could. And that really led me down a path of discovering the many ancient medical systems and traditional practices of the world, a lot of which I teach about and incorporate into incense crafting and aromatic medicine today. So anyways, long story short, one of the modalities that worked best for me was burning incense. I started to learn about the ancient traditions that used incense plants as inhalants to bring balance and nourish the nervous system and the mind, and also affect the heart and really penetrate deep into the body through the airways, and even penetrate deep into the emotional body and the mind, all the way down to the soul level. And that's where I started to learn about the psycho-spiritual effects of aromatic plants and incense, where plants affect us beyond the physical and the practical, and really start to get down to healing our past traumas and even bringing balance to mental and emotional patterning. So in addition to different effects and actions and healing properties, most plants that are used as incense also carry strong powers that affect our nervous system, and a lot of these plants also have a direct effect on the parasympathetic nervous system, which is what some people refer to as the rest and digest system, which brings that calm and balance to the mind and heart. And this in part is another reason why so many aromatic plants have been used in incense form to accompany meditation and prayer, because they help to bring about that state of inner peace and calm that really allows people to attain those higher states of consciousness. So anxiety is really an issue that can affect every type of person with any type of constitution, and thankfully anyone can work through their anxieties and overcome them. I used to think otherwise, but looking back to where I was and the work that it took me to get to where I am today, I'll tell you that if you or somebody you love deals with anxiety issues, there's definitely hope for them. If I can do it, I really feel that anyone else can do it too. So before I unveil my top 5 favorite aromatic plants for these issues, I'm going to start off by saying that nervous tension and anxiety and agitation and frustration, they can all be related, but they're also really distinct in their own right in the eyes of different ancient medical systems. And each treatment of incense or aromatic plants or even essential oils is not going to affect everyone in the same way. The first thing that really needs to happen is to look at the person who's experiencing these issues and really find out, what is it that might be causing these issues. Either maybe they're being overworked, or they have a stressful job, or a lack of self-confidence. Maybe they're not getting enough sleep. Maybe they have bad eating habits or drinking too much caffeine. Or maybe they're dealing with past traumas or unhealthy patterns that they dealt with earlier in life. Or maybe it's a combination of these things. There can be a lot of different factors. So everybody is different, and unless you just want to cover up the symptoms, you really need to get to the core of what's going on with each person on an individual level to figure out what remedies are going to work best for them. And then you'll need to really address some of these external causes that are contributing to whatever imbalances they're experiencing. Once you do that, then aromatic plants and incense can really help guide a person back to emotional and mental balance in a big way. Now, I believe in the power of essential oils and incense administered through the air to be a really powerful and safe modality for healing. First off, it doesn't require the level of specificity that ingesting or using medicines topically does, so it's safe for anyone to use at home. And second, it's a method of application that really works. You know, as you're inhaling the medicines of these plants, they're making their way into your lungs, your brain, your heart, your bloodstream, and are taken into the places where, they're really needing to go in the body for you to find greater balance and healing. So agitation and nervous tension, those are linked to the heart and liver in Oriental medicine, where anxiety is said to be a disturbance more of the mind and also of the heart to a lesser degree. So the plants that I'm going to be listing here in a moment, they each have their own different effects on these organs. Some of them affect the mind and heart, and some of them affect either one or the other. So I'll talk about where each plant is best used for you. And I know I just said that everybody's different, but no matter the constitution of a person, if they're experiencing certain symptoms of nervousness or anxiety, the application of incense or aromatics through the airways is a much simpler modality than giving them medicines to ingest. And honestly, in many cases, it can be just as effective, especially over a period of time, burning and diffusing certain plants. And especially if that person is actually willing to address the other factors that are actually causing or contributing to their mental or emotional imbalances. So my top incenses and aromatic plants for helping to work through and overcome nervousness and mental agitation and anxiety are ones that are really good at bringing comfort and nourishment to the emotional and physical heart, and also peace and calm to the mind and thoughts. So I want to start out with talking about lavender. Lavender is the first one that comes to mind for me. I've used lavender a lot in the past to help me relax and release built up emotions and energy that results in agitation and that feeling of built up mental stagnation. I'm sure you can easily recall the feeling that lavender flowers give you when you take in that deep whiff of them, right? You just feel that nourishment and that peace come over you. So lavender is great for the mind and the heart, and it's really helpful in finding that inner peace, which can really be a lifesaver for people who feel like they're maybe drowning in their thoughts. Another plant that I have a really close relationship with is lemon balm or melissa. This plant really helped me through a lot of nervousness and heavy anxiety over the years. Melissa helps to really ease the heart and release emotions that are associated with feelings of being overwhelmed. And it has a strong effect on the nervous system as well. And it's really good for disorders of the nerves and mind in general. The famous physician Nicholas Culpeper, he once said that melissa causes the mind and the heart to become merry. And that's exactly the feeling that it gives me. You know, this plant, it's been thought of as a tonic or an elixir for the heart for centuries. And it's even used in certain cases for the physical palpitation of the heart. Melissa, it's not the most pleasant smelling as incense, but its essential oil has really uplifting aromas that can really change your mood instantly. And if you've ever taken a deep whiff of it, you probably know what I'm talking about as well. So another one of my all-time favorite incenses to work with is frankincense. Frankincense is what's known as an oleogum resin. It's an incense resin that is secreted from various species of trees that grow all over North Africa. And unfortunately, it's reaching a point where it's really being pushed into endangerment. So we really have to watch out for anybody that doesn't have a certified sustainable source. If your source doesn't say that it's sustainable, chances are that it was harvested in a harmful way, and it's likely caused damage or even led to the destruction or death of some of these fragile trees. Just something to be mindful of when working with frankincense. So frankincense is definitely one of the most popular incenses in the world for a lot of different reasons, but in this case here, it's really good for releasing energetic tension and reducing mental strain. And it's used to also balance the emotions as well. So for somebody who experiences anxiety or heaviness in their thoughts, this incense is really going to help to be elevating and warming, and in addition to affecting emotional well-being, it also is indicated more so for the mind. So when people burn frankincense, it kind of gets people out of their head and into their heart again, and it creates a sense of really reconnecting to the vibrance and joy of life again. And it also creates a sense of sacredness too when it's burned, where there isn't really room for anxiety or stress when you're really tuned in to burning it or using it as an incense ritualistically. And back in ancient times, frankincense was commonly used to drive away spirits, which we can really kind of look at as reflections within us in the form of anxiety and fears and obsessions that have manifested into our physical imbalances. So frankincense is a really good one for a lot of these issues here. Fourth plant I'd love to talk about is marjoram. And this is a plant that has really come to me more recently and has a really comforting energy to it. It has a really sweet smelling aroma that promotes positive feelings. This is also a slight sedative that supports the energetic heart. And it works on bringing really more love and compassion to the heart in general, and helps kind of work through different issues around the heart or trauma around the heart. And it opens up the heart, so to speak, helping people become more receptive to the vibrance of life, while really getting people out of their busy minds and back to their senses. And it also lowers sympathetic function while stimulating the parasympathetic function. So this is one of my recently favorite plants that I've known about and used for a long time. But once I actually started working with it in more depth, more intimately, I've really been receiving a lot of wisdom from this plant. And then last but not least, I'd like to talk about the sacred tree sandalwood. So Indian sandalwood is threatened in the wild in India. So again, we really need to be conscious of sustainable and non-sustainable sources. There are many sources in Australia that are growing the Santalum album species, the Indian sandalwood, more sustainably. There's also other species around the world that are less threatened and in danger, so just something to keep in mind. Sandalwood really relaxes the nerves and calms and nourishes the mind, and it really helps out in cases of overthinking, and it also it's a slight sedative as well, which is why it's been such a major part of meditation in different traditions in the East. And it's also helps to bring about feelings of peace when you burn it. Sandalwood is considered a very sacred plant in India and other older cultures, and it's really known to help strengthen spiritual connection and faith. So if you've ever smelled quality sandalwood before, you know that it has something really special to offer. It can be a really strong aid to people experiencing anxiety and nervous tension, so definitely do your best to find a sustainable source and try working with it. My company, Higher Mind Incense, we currently have a few vials of sustainably harvested Indian sandalwood powder in stock if you wanted to check that out as well. You can find that on the website. So I suggest that if you or somebody close to you that deals with anxiety or stress or nervous tension, try out these different plants and incenses and see which ones work best for you. Many different studies have been done on our emotional likes and dislikes of aroma, and people have found that when somebody likes or really loves an aroma, that plant has an affinity to them, and it likely holds some kind of healing benefit for them too. And on the flip side, if they dislike an aroma, they should definitely do their best to avoid it. And remember, all of these plants work on the physical level as well as the emotional and soul level. So they can really be a well-rounded medicine when the causes of stress and anxiety are also addressed and reduced or really taken out of the equation altogether. So I just wanted to mention as well that if you're interested in learning more about incense and aromatic plants and how to really understand their healing virtues on much deeper levels, the Listening to Incense Home Study course is open for registration this week, and it will be closing this Saturday at midnight. So if you haven't had a chance to check out this course yet, You're really going to love it. You should check it out in the link below and see that this really is a really special program that I'm offering. It's a program for people that are into incense and aromatherapy, from beginners to advanced, and it'll really give you the tools and practices to take your work with incense and aromatic plants to a new level of holistic healing. And this program also teaches you really how to synthesize the practical and the medicinal and spiritual virtues of incense, while helping you to really refine your olfactory palate and your senses, so you can really become more well-rounded in your work, whether you're an aromatherapist or an incense crafter or an herbalist or a perfumer. I've also recently added a new bonus to this program. It's the traditional incense crafting video course. So if you want to learn how to formulate your own incense cones or sticks or loose incense, this program is really going to teach you not only how to make incense on a practical level, but also how to tap into the different traditional systems of plant classification and energetics, different aromatic healing modalities, so you can really facilitate greater transformation and healing for yourself and others on both the physical and the spiritual levels. Again, that link to the program is below, so just be sure you check it out today, because registration is closing really soon. So I wish you health and balance, and thank you so much for watching. And if you get something from these videos, or if you know somebody out there who could really benefit from this knowledge, please pass this video on to them or share in your social media. Thanks again for watching, and take care.